Hello everybody. We are here to talk about the greatest travesty in cinematic history. That's right, we are here to talk about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And the reason it is the greatest travesty in cinematic history is it's because of the MCU that we haven't made any Marvel fan films because the MCU is just too damn good.
Yeah, that's why. Because at least with what DC's throwing out at the moment, we have a chance.
Yeah, seriously. Did you see Batman v Superman?
Did you see Suicide Squad?
Don't get me started on Justice League.
Shazam was good.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman.
And Aquaman.
Everybody knows just how fantastic the Marvel Cinematic Universe is. I feel so lucky to be alive in a generation where we have these amazing movies starring these amazing characters that I grew up loving. We are going to list our order of the best to worst MCU movies, starting with the worst, going down to our individual picks as the best. It's just our opinion. Please take it with a grain of salt. We are not telling anybody what their favourite Marvel movie should be. We are just telling you what our opinion is of the best Marvel movie. Okay? Now that we've got that out of the way, please don't crucify us.
But you are welcome to comment if you think my opinions are better or Jake's opinions are better. Even the worst MCU movie isn't bad.
No, exactly. Somebody said to me the other day that they would watch the worst MCU movie over the best DC movie.
Wow, that's a big say.
Really, yeah, you know. So again, these are just our opinions. Please take them how you will. Okay, so Tom, what is your opinion of the worst MCU movie?
My worst MCU movie, or my least favourite, should I say, is Thor: The Dark World.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I think while both Hemsworth and Hiddleston were amazing in their characters and they really stole the show, we had a really underwhelming villain, and I never once felt like there was any real threat. And the fact that Thor's mother was killed as an entire plot device and didn't really add anything to her character.
Exactly, yeah. Oh boy, I'm gonna get so much hate for this. My pick for the worst MCU movie is Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Oh. Look, and that's not me saying that Captain Marvel is a bad movie. Okay, it's just Marvel was on a hot streak with Phase 3, and I kind of feel like every movie was topping the last one in some form or fashion. And Captain Marvel came out after Infinity War. Marvel was at such a high point that I really just felt like it dropped the ball. I don't feel like Carol Danvers went through any kind of dramatic transformation. I think she started the movie as a very reserved, kick-ass warrior, and that's how she ended the movie, but with a bit more power. The revelation of what happened to Nick Fury's eye, I just kind of found a bit laughable. If you enjoy Captain Marvel, more power to you, because I know a lot of people who love the movie. Just for me, it's just at the very, very bottom.
Number 22. For me, I put The Incredible Hulk.
Phase 1?
Yeah, I think while a fun movie, the fact that we've been given such an iconic Hulk in Mark Ruffalo across all the movies he's been in, even though he's not yet to have his standalone movie, it's just sort of taken the spotlight off of Edward Norton's Hulk. The CGI, I don't think it matched up to what we've got today, even though you've got older films, arguably better CGI, and I just think a lot of the characters were quite weak.
My pick for number 22 is Iron Man 2, so the movie that came out after The Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
For the longest time, this was my... it was the worst Marvel movie for me. I thought Iron Man 2 was inferior in almost every aspect when it came to Iron Man, and I think Iron Man is just an incredible movie. Iron Man 2, I felt like the plot was nonsensical. I thought Tony took way too much of a character bashing in this, especially how far his character came in the first Iron Man movie, and then just took a massive step backward. I think that was one of the first movies that really started this idea that Marvel movie villains are nothing. I think this is one of the first movies that started that trend, especially with such an amazing actor like Mickey Rourke. To really waste somebody like that's talent, I think that's a talent in itself.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
For me, second worst Marvel movie, Iron Man 2. Captain Marvel just beat Iron Man 2 as the worst. Only just. We're on to number 21. My pick for this one is Thor: The Dark World, which is actually your worst pick. Thor: The Dark World, when it first came out, and I'm not really ashamed to say this, it's just how I feel, I absolutely loved Thor: The Dark World when it came out, because my problems with the first Thor movie was that most of it took place on Earth. And the reason why I love Thor and the reason why I love Thor comics is because of all the, you know, the space stuff,
Yeah,
the
of course.
Viking stuff, the Norse gods, and we didn't really get to see that in the first Thor movie. So the fact that the 85-90% of this movie took place in Asgard and, you know, majorly focused on Thor and Odin and Loki, and I love all that stuff. And it's obviously now moving forward and now where we are with the MCU, I can realize the really, really big shortcomings this movie has. But we said before, just because it's one of the worst in the MCU, that does not make it a bad movie, in my opinion. And the reason this isn't at the bottom of my list is because I still really enjoy the back and forth between Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston.
My number 21 is actually Captain Marvel. I put it above these two because while I agree on what you said about Captain Marvel and her journey, I do think Brie Larson was a good pick for the role, and I think she is characterized a lot better in the Endgame than she was in Captain Marvel. And I can understand that she's a character that's trying to struggle with knowing what's real and what's fake in her mind. So I can understand where some of the more bland acting, as some people have said, came across. But I think what puts this movie above the others is such a fantastic ensemble sidecast.
Ooh, yes.
Like young Nick Fury was amazing. Getting to see a young Coulson was really fun. Talos.
Ben Mendelsohn is on the role of his career at the moment. Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
He's Star Wars, Ready Player One, this.
Yeah.
He's done so many good things.
Next choice of ours is at number 20, and for me it is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Fine movie, you know. And I think that is a word I could say. It's fine. It's okay. You know. There's nothing really spectacular about it. It's kind of like, you know, it's like that episode of a series in the middle where it's just kind of a filler episode. You know, there's nothing spectacular about it. Okay. Discounting the end teaser scene, if you didn't watch it, you wouldn't really miss out on anything in the grand scheme of the MCU. It's fine, you know, it's entertaining. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly are great. Yeah, I love the fact that Lawrence Fishburne was included. Yeah, no complaints. Just kind of middle of the road.
My number 20 pick is Iron Man 2, which was your worst pick, wasn't it?
Well, second to worst.
Second to worst pick after Captain Marvel, yes. And once again, there's nothing wrong with the movie, but like you said, I think you've got a weak villain. Justin Hammer is almost laughable as a character. He seems more of a parody of Tony Stark than an actual like tech conglomerate. I do think him creating his own element was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But it did give us the triangle armor, which we don't like the triangle armor. But we did. But we did also get the replacement, James Rhodes, and the new Rhodey, who has been fantastic across every movie.
It's that moment when he walks into the courtroom.
I'm
as
here.
a completely different actor.
This is what it is. Just deal with it. Move on. Yeah.
It's so well done.
My number 19. I put Thor, and I think Thor. All in all, I think my biggest issues with this movie is you have Thor spending most of the time not as Thor. And a lot of his side characters aren't really that interesting. They tease a lot more with Loki and him being a frost giant, but that goes absolutely nowhere across the rest of the entire franchise. Did you know he was a frost giant? If you didn't see the first Thor, you'd never know.
Oh.
I think the fact that they made Hemsworth dye his eyebrows, so he looked extra blonde, was a bit of a weird look. And I think the introduction of Loki as a villain was fantastic. But all in all, it was very meh for me.
My pick for number 19 is Ant-Man, the movie that capped off Phase 2.
Wow.
Again, it's a very entertaining movie. I just don't care about that character as much as I care about characters like Captain America or Iron Man or Thor. Paul Rudd was great as Ant-Man. I thought the idea to make Ant-Man Scott Lang instead of Hank Pym was really smart, and the backstory they gave to Hank Pym, you know, having him being, you know, in the 70s and being a hero then. I think maybe if Edgar Wright had stayed with the film, maybe it would be higher up on my list.
That's fair.
But as is, yeah, just 19.
My number 18 pick is actually Doctor Strange.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let me start out by saying I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a phenomenal British actor, but he's exactly that. He's a British actor, and I think his American accent leaves a lot to be desired. And that's going to come back and bite me in the ass with my accent for my next thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the Cumberbitches are going to block.
Oh, absolutely. And while I'm really happy the movie introduced magic and mysticism into the MCU, I think the villain was really weak. I never really felt like he was a threat. I think Mads Mikkelsen was wasted, because all he did was have weird eyes and then, you know. And I feel like Dormammu was an afterthought, because the guy that cast to play Dormammu was Benedict Cumberbatch. Well, I just never felt like he was a threat, because, you know, how much of a threat can things be when you can literally turn back time? But that's just me.
My choice for number 18 is The Incredible Hulk. I personally think that this is the most underrated MCU movie. I think it has some incredible moments, especially since we came off the heels of the Ang Lee Hulk movie, which I think is one of the worst comic book movies ever made. It just did not understand the character that it was adapting at all. I think it had some moments that I've always wanted to see in a Hulk movie, you know? Hulk really let loose against the military and the tanks. It had Hulk fighting Abomination, and you know, who didn't want to see that? And they included moments from Hulk Ultimate Destruction with Hulk making, you know, boxing gloves out of a car that he ripped in half. And every time that movie is on like ITV3 or whatever, every single time the Hulk says, when Abomination says any last words, and Hulk raises his fist and goes, Hulk! Smash! Every single time I get goosebumps because I wanted to see that moment in a movie since I was like 5.
Next on my list for me is actually Iron Man 3. I know a lot of people give this a lot of flack, and some people even say it's the worst Iron Man movie because of the Mandarin thing. But I really enjoyed this movie because it focused on the man in the armour as opposed to just the armour. It's showing that there was more to Iron Man than just the suit, and you got to see Tony struggle with real life things. You see him having anxiety, having panic attacks, not knowing what to do with himself. Obviously, in the MCU, they omitted a lot of Tony's alcoholism and other mental issues that he had in the comics at Robert Downey Jr.'s request. Mm-hmm. But showing him having severe mental issues from the events of the attack of New York really allowed to humanise the character, and I think it made really well. Plus, similar to the Hulk scene of the Hulk smash, the scene where all of his armours come together and you get to see them all fight is just beautiful.
You're going to laugh at this. This is my pick as well, is Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3? Okay.
Iron Man 3 at 17. Yeah, I love this movie. And I'm not going to be ashamed by saying that. Like I say, it was the first time that Iron Man dealt with, PTSD and panic attacks and stuff. And at this point in my life, personally, I was dealing with very similar issues. I had real problems in my personal life when it came to panic attacks. It kind of made me feel like I wasn't going through this on my own when, you know, one of my favourite superheroes is going through this at the same time. I thought Shane Black was an excellent choice of director as this. If anybody's ever seen Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, they will know exactly why he was brought on with this movie with Robert Downey Jr. And like you said, the moment with all of Tony's armors converging at the end, that's all I've ever wanted to see in an Iron Man movie. Yeah, Iron Man being Iron Man with all these amazing armors.
Dudes being dudes, and
yeah.
Guys being guys.
Yep. So, yeah, number 17, absolutely great. I love Iron Man 3.